We have with us a prominent politician from UK, from Scotland, a well-known figure in the media as well, and that is the leader of Respect Party, George Galloway, MP.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome
to our program.
Welcome to our program, and I think our viewers will be surprised as well. Anyhow, we were discussing...
Mr. George Galloway has a habit of surprising people.
Yes, I like to keep them on their toes.
Yeah, we were, dear viewers, we were talking about American-Pakistan strategic dialogue, and we were, in Urdu, we were telling people that so far in 60s and 70s and 80s, Pakistan and people of Pakistan have been badly let down by Americans. But this time, Americans are again reassuring government of Pakistan and people of Pakistan that we are with you, and big smiles and big words have been used, and they are saying that we are with Pakistan. But some Americans are somehow surprised that why Pakistanis are not happy.
Pakistani public.
Exactly. They are offering so much. They have increased their financial aid to Pakistan 3 times, and still people of Pakistan are not happy. And I think no one can enlighten us more than George Galloway. What would you like to say, George?
Thank you very much indeed for the opportunity. I happen to be passing, and of course I'm aware of the tremendous reputation of the station and of your program. So it was a great chance to just nip in for a short time, because I'm on my way to Rochdale to launch our election campaign there. But it's a very interesting subject that you're dealing with. It's one I was just giving an interview in the car to Apna magazine on this very subject, so I'm practiced in it. You're right to say that the historic nature of this relationship is a very one-sided one. During the dictatorship of Zia al-Haq, Pakistan was actually rented out to the United States, which was bad enough, but they didn't pay very much rent, which makes it all worse. Pakistan was the second victim of the war which the United States prosecuted through Pakistan against the then government of Afghanistan. And the result was that Pakistan became flooded with weapons, with drugs, with crime, with refugees in their millions and so on. And Pakistan actually has never recovered from that. This was a profoundly destabilizing period. And whilst the dictatorship maybe got a few dollars, maybe some of the top military brass filled their Swiss bank accounts, but prices rose throughout Pakistan, law and order situation deteriorated, and the beginnings of a fanaticization of an element of Pakistani society, radicalization, fanaticization, took hold. And now everything appears to be being done to exacerbate that. The United States are giving aid to Pakistan, giving sweet words to the government of Pakistan, at the same time as bombing Pakistan.
Yes.
And killing significant numbers of Pakistani citizens. And they wonder why this generates more terrorism and more extremism. I mean, a blind man could see that if you constantly infringe on a country's sovereignty, constantly make incursions into its territory, and constantly bombard it from the drones from the air, killing men, women and children, wedding parties, funeral gatherings, school parties, innocent neighbors. Even if you say that you're aiming at terrorist targets, well, your aim isn't very good, because you're not killing the terrorists, you're killing the ordinary people and making more terrorists.
Exactly.
So my advice, and you know, I'm long time associate of the Pakistan People's Party. The late Benazir Bhutto was a very good friend of mine. And I say to President Zardari that he's really not getting much of a bargain, which is a surprise because he's quite a good businessman. He's not getting much of a bargain for Pakistan out of this special relationship with the United States.
If you are part of Pakistani delegation, and if you are representing Pakistan, and you're sitting with this delegation facing Richard Holbrooke and American Secretary of State, how would you sell Pakistani interest?
What I'd say is that the war in Afghanistan is profoundly destabilizing Pakistan. the spreading over the border of the war runs the risk of the destruction, actually, of civil power in Pakistan. The destruction, dismemberment of the country, even. And this is not in anybody's interest, least of all the people of Pakistan. Pakistan is a nuclear power, the only Muslim nuclear power, and it's a vastly populous country in a very strategically sensitive area of the world, and deserves more respect. The first thing to be done is to begin talking properly to the people who they are fighting in Afghanistan. They will have to do so in the end.
Yeah.
They are in part doing so secretly now, but it's always with the aim of dividing this little group off against another, shearing off this personality or another. This war will continue forever unless a negotiated settlement is reached. Now, what are the bones of this negotiated settlement? The West, indeed all countries, have a right to insist that Afghanistan does not become again a base for the Al-Qaeda phenomenon of international pan-Islamic terrorism. This is a legitimate state interest of Britain and the United States and the other countries in the world, and such a deal is possible. The Afghans who are fighting the British and American and German and other forces in Afghanistan are not fighting for Osama bin Laden. These are simple tribesmen, villagers, farmers who are fighting to defend their country against foreign occupation. If the foreign occupation leaves, it's perfectly possible to thrash out a stable coalition in Kabul which will not allow bin Ladenism to re-emerge, but which will be free of the taint of being there at the point of American and British guns and weapons. This means we need an international peace conference. It can be in London, perhaps. We need an international peace conference at which all the parties to the conflict are present and all the neighboring countries.
Thank you for that. I think my friend had a question.
Now I'll come to the recent incident what happened in Dubai by Mossad.
Yes.
What do you think what the British has done, just expulsion of one Israeli diplomat, is that enough as a reaction of
no, it's definitely
using British passport, going into other territories and killing
well, ask
Palestinian leaders?
Ask yourself this. If Pakistani officials had stolen
a British passport,
15
this is what we were
British
talking
passports
just before you came, yeah.
and used these passports to commit a murder, say, in India or of an Indian political figure, can you imagine what the hue and cry would be in the world? It would be leading the news week after week. There would be threats of war, sanctions, all sorts of punishments would be forthcoming. And compare and contrast that with the way in which Israel has been treated. We shouldn't however, underestimate the importance of the measures that the British government did take. They have effectively said that Israel is responsible for an international crime, of the murder itself, because the passports were used in the murder. If Israel is guilty of stealing the passports, ipso facto they are guilty of committing the murder. And it's turned out to be a very expensive operation for Israel. 50 agents, millions of dollars spent, and more importantly, political capital wasted in countries like Britain, Ireland, France, Germany, who are countries historically friendly towards them, whose relations are now at a very low ebb. And taken together with the crisis in American-Israeli relations, the insult, as Mrs. Clinton put it, to Joe Biden on his visit to Israel, the triple danger which Israel faces, according to Mrs. Clinton again at the AIPAC, American-Israel Public Affairs Committee conference last week, in which she said Israel is in danger unless it deals with the Palestinians for 3 reasons. 1, demography, 2, ideology, and 3, technology. This is the first time that an American leader has laid out a future for Israel in which they are no longer superior, no longer the top dogs, but actually at risk from the people around them.